Yes, recording is started now. Okay. So now next part that we have is maven. Okay. Uh, for the automation, if you are using Java based framework, okay, around 95% of project or more than 95% of project is using maven for their, if they are using Java as a programming language, then definitely they are using maven as well. Okay, by default. Right. Now, what is the maven? Okay, what is maven? What is meant by maven? Okay, so maven is one, powerful build automation tool or build automation. We can say, like, maven is one of the powerful build automation tool. Okay, and project management tool primarily used for the Java based project. Okay, so you can say the build automation tool, or you can say the project management tool. Project management tool. Okay, I will explain this, what is meant by build tool, what is meant by project management tool as well. Okay, with the help of maven, what we can do, we can set up project. Okay, so first thing, what we can do with the help of maven, we can set up the project, we can manage the dependencies or dependency management, we can compile the project, we can package the project. Package means what? We can create the jars of the project. Packaging means we can create the jars of the project. Then making the, these are the different things that we can do with the help of maven. Okay, so first thing, project setup. Okay, so for the project, different things are required. We can set up that. Right. Second thing, we can manage the dependencies. What is meant by dependencies? For example, if I want to work on Selenium project, right? So what is the dependency for me? I need a Selenium jar, right? So this is the dependency. Right. So for example, I'm going to use the test engine same project, right? So test engine is also dependency, right? Now I'm going to use, let's say, extend report, right? So extend report is also third party tool. Your maven is also, your test engine is also third party tool. And there is one automation tool, that is Selenium, right? So there are, this couple of tools that we are going to use in our framework, right? Now these tools needs to download somewhere, right? Now Selenium, we know that, there is one open QS ID is there, and with the help of that, we can download the Selenium, right? But for each and every tool, let's say for test engine, they have their own site test engine. From there, we can download. Okay. Now for, let's say, for extend report, we can download it from the who have developed the extend report. From their site, we can download it. Okay. Now, whenever, it's not like that for any framework or any automation framework, we are going to use single tool, or let's say not only 2 to 4 tools or 2 to 3 tools. Okay. So whenever we are developing any framework, we are going to use the multiple tools. We require the multiple dependencies, right? So how to manage these dependencies, right? Manually, if I'm tracking this, it will be very difficult to manage this kind of dependencies, right? So with, for the dependency management, your maven is help you a lot. For dependency management, maven will help you a lot, right? Then if you want to compile the project, with the help of maven, you can compile the project, you can package the project, that means you can create your jars. Okay, and make, I mean uh, whatever the, useful things required for, supporting things that is required for your project, you can do it with the help of maven. Okay, so before, this, what we'll do, we'll just, try to download the maven first. Okay, we will install the maven on your machine, and then we'll see, what different things we can do with the help of maven. Right. Okay, so how to download the maven? So for that, just you have to say download maven for Windows. Right. So this is the site Apache Maven. Okay. So from this particular site, you can download the Maven. Okay. Now, if you see, these are the different forms of or options of downloading the Maven. Right. Okay. So you can choose anyone that you want. Okay. So maybe I'm going to choose this particular thing, binary. Okay. So that I can easily extract it on my machine. Okay, it's still downloading. So let me wait for till it download.
Sir,
Okay.
is there any difference between downloading from Apache file and from Eclipse Marketplace plugin?
See, Eclipse Marketplace, I think nowadays you will by default get the Maven there. You don't need to, add Maven there. Okay. Now, if you
Yes,
see in your project, I mean, everyone can try this thing. Okay. So go to the new project and click on project. Okay. Now, if you are getting this particular option, that means Maven is there on your machine.
yes, sir.
Can everyone is try this particular thing? New project. New project.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Maven is already there.
Yeah. For this is for everyone, right?
Yes, 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 Ajay.
Okay. If anyone is not having Maven on their machine, then I will tell you how to do it. But nowadays, for everyone, this option will get. Okay. Now, if it is there, then no need to install the Maven with the help of Eclipse Marketplace because Maven is there in your Eclipse. Right. So next
Yes,
thing that what you can do. So this particular thing is, for, executing the maven command through the your command line. Okay, so this is not for, executing the commands from the Eclipse, right? So this is called as the maven CLI, maven CLI. Okay, so this is for, executing the command from the command prompt, right? As of now, we don't require this, but we'll do the setup, and whenever we require, we will execute the command from there. Okay, so I have downloaded the Maven. Okay, so I will say like, uh, extract all. Okay, so now Maven is extracted here. Okay, I'll go to the Maven project. So this is my Maven directory, right? Maven folder, right? I can place this Maven anywhere. Okay, so for example, for that reason, what I need to do, I need to copy this Maven and let me go to, let's say, any folder, right? So for example, let's say I will go to the uh, in my computer, I'll go to, let's say, this PC. In this PC, I have D drive. I'll go to the D drive. I'll create one folder here, new folder. I'll say Maven, right? And I'll paste the Maven here in this particular folder, right? So before, setting the path, what I'll do, I'll say, CMD, and I'll say hyphen V. Okay, so it's saying like, the version that I am having on my machine, that is the 3.9.7. Okay, and the version that I have downloaded, it's 3.9.9. Right. So I can set this version as well. For that, I have to take the path till bin. Okay, so I'll taking this particular path till bin. I'll just copy this particular path. Okay, just remember that I'm taking the path till bin. Okay, I'll just copy this particular path. Then I will go to the this particular Windows. Okay, and I will search here, environment. Okay, then I'll get the two options, right? So first one is the edit system environment variable, and second one is the edit environment variable for your account, right? So I'll say edit system, sorry, your account I will select. Okay, and here if I scroll down, there is one path variable is there, right? So now I'm not allowed to here to update this. Okay, so I'll go to the another option, that env, that is the environment variable, and edit system environment variable. I'll select this one, right? So I'll get this particular window. Here I will say environment variable. Okay. Now if you see, there are two sections, right? So in that I have to select this particular path. Okay. And I'll say, edit this particular path. Right. So here, if you see Apache Maven 9.7 path is set in this particular machine. So that's the reason 9.7 is taking. So where I updated this particular Maven. So this is under programming C program files. Apache Maven folder is there. And from there, it's taking the pin. Right. So what I'll do, I'll set just delete this one. Okay. And just add new one. Right. So new path is this one. D Maven, Apache Maven 9.9, sorry, 3.9.9, and till the bin I have added. Once this step is done, then I'll say OK. Then I'll say OK again. Right. So now my environment variable is set. Right. So I will just close this particular CMD, and then I will say CMD, and I'll say MVN hyphen version. Okay. Now if you see Maven version, it's saying like 3.9.9 now, right? So for everyone, it's necessary to set the class path. So whatever step we have done, that adding the environment variable, this is called as the setting the class path, right? So we are setting the Maven path, right? So for this, having Java is must. If you are not having Java, you will get the error, right? So having Java is also must here. Okay, I hope everyone is having Java, because we are doing the Java programming from quite sometimes, right? So just add this particular path so that you will get the Maven. Okay, now that's it. We don't have to do anything, right? This particular part we'll use the later on. Okay, just remember that we have we can say that Maven client we have downloaded on our machine, and that we are going to use later on. Maven client or Maven CLI, both are fine. Right.
The Eclipse will take which version we have installed, updated one, or it's by default Maven
Eclipse
version?
don't, I mean, in case of Eclipse, don't worry about the version and all. Right. And
Okay.
here as well, version will not, I mean, matter much. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now what we did, we have downloaded, I mean, on my machine, I have already Maven in Eclipse, right? So, but now I have to create the Maven project, right? So how to create the Maven project? So for that purpose, what I'm going to do, I'm going to say new, and then I will go to the project, and I'll say Maven project, right? So there are multiple options are there. Okay, so it's saying like, Maven module. So Maven module is different thing, and Maven project is different thing. So every time we are going to create the Maven project, right? So I'm going to select the Maven project. Okay, and I'll say next. Okay, now here I'm going to say create simple Maven project. Okay, so I'm going to select this particular option, and then I'll say next. Okay, now here you have to take care of two things. Okay, so first one is the group ID. Second one is the artifact ID, and name and description is optional. Okay, but it's good to have. I mean, if you are adding this, that is fine. right? So for every project, so for example, let's say I'm working for TCS, okay, or maybe I'm working for, let's say, Infosys, right? So in that case, um, Infosys might be having their own domain, okay, so where they are having multiple project, right? So for example, let's say in case of TCS, okay, so let's assume that TCS, how TCS site looks like. Okay, it's not depend on site, what domain they have decided for the project. Okay, generally it should be like, tcs.com, for example, right? So this is the particular site for the TCS, right? Okay, so this is the site for the Tata Consultancy Services, right? So generally, if Tata Consultancy Services wants to, let's assume that this is the small scale company and they are doing some, development for their in-house project, right? So generally, typically what they will do, if they want to, set the group ID, then they will add like this. Okay, they will add like this com dot tcs. Okay, and in that com dot tcs, they might be working on some project. Let's assume the project name is, for example, um, anything, right? For example, my project name is, let's say, um, for example, in TCS, they have a project of HSBC, right? Or maybe SDFC. SDFC is the bank name. Okay. So let's assume that in TCS, they have a project of HDFC. All right. So group ID is your company domain most of the time. Okay. And artifact ID is your project unique ID. Artifact ID is your project unique ID. All right. Now, next thing. Okay, so again, I'll just go to this particular slide where you can see. Okay, so for any project, you are going to have group ID. So usually the domain name of your organization is your group ID. It's completely not mandatory that, for example, TCS is going to have always com.tcs, this kind of domain. That might be possibility in TCS. There are multiple, departments available, right? So they might be saying like, com.tcs dot, let's say, banking and finance. In that they having, let's say, for example, European Union, for that only European Union banking and finance project, right? Now, okay, so this is your group ID, and your project ID may be, let's say, for example, let's say you are having project name something like Cash Plus, or maybe you are having project name something like. So this is depend organization to organization, but most of the cases, the company domain name is your group ID, and this is not restricted. You have to add the company domain itself, right? But most of the companies follow this particular standard. Okay, what they do, generally add here the company domain so that it will be easy for them to track, right? For your case, you can add any domain, right? So com dot, but I mean, use this practice like, if you're adding or some specific project, let's say for a demo qa, right? Demoqa.com, you're doing the project for that, right? So just add com.demoqa, right? So you will get to understand like, this is project for this particular site, com.demoqa, right? Now next thing that you have to add the project name. Okay, so project name could be anything, right? So it's a unique identifier of your project, right? Now, next thing that you are having version, right? So version means, let's say, for example, initial version of my project is, let's say, 0.0.1 or 0.0.1 snapshot, right? If you don't want to give the snapshot here, you can change it, right? But by default, it keeps saying like, first version is 0.0.1 snapshot, right? If you don't like this, you can change it, right? But this is only version of your project or version of your whatever development you're going to do, that version is here, right? So now once this is done, what you need to do? You
Sir,
need to,
that's why
yeah.
we called Maven is a version control system, right?
Maven is not version. No, Maven is not version control
It
system.
is a build and execution tool, right?
Correct. Build tool. It's build and project management tool. Okay. Basically, it will manage the dependency well.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Now, next thing that we have name and description. Okay. Again, this is not mandatory, but it's good to have. Okay. So for example, my project name is, let's say again, I'm going to say like, HDFC is my project name, and description is, I can add anything, right? So this is HDFC Bank project. Okay. And that's it. This particular part is not mandatory. Okay, you don't no need to fill this particular part, right? And then I'll say finish it. All right. So when I say like finish, then one project, one folder will be created saying HDFC. Now tell me HDFC we have selected for what? Group ID or artifact ID?
Artifact
Artifact
ID.
ID, right?
Artifact ID.
So with the name of artifact ID means my project name, project unique ID, right? So with that name, one folder is created. Okay, that is the SDFC. Okay, now if you see here, so many folders created, right? So let me explain one by one what different folder we are having here. Okay, so basically, if I say right click and property, okay, sorry, resources, okay, then I'll say navigate to this particular location, so that I'm clicking on the show in explorer. Okay, so it's navigating me to the explorer, right? So now this is the HDFC folder, HDFC project that we have created, and in this HDFC folder we are having majorly two folders. Okay, forget about this setting. Okay, so setting is a different thing. This is just maintaining the setting of your project. Okay, so forget about that particular part. All right, so here major two things are there. Okay, or we can say the three things are there. Okay, so first thing is the src folder, second thing is the target folder, and third thing is the pom.xml. Okay, so let's focus on first src folder. Right, so as I said, like first folder is src created here. Okay, so let me go inside the src. Inside the src there are mainly two folders created. Okay, so first folder is the main and second folder is the test. Okay, main and test, main and test, there are two folders inside the src. So first one is the main and second one is the test, right? So now this main folder is for developer. Now consider like this, the main folder is for the developer. So basically developer is going to add their code inside the main folder. Okay, so as of now, just consider that main folder is not for us. Okay, then now test folder is there, one test folder is there. So this particular test folder is for us, right? For us means whatever automation code you are going to write, you can write it into the test folder. Whatever development related code they wants to add, they can add it into the main folder. Okay, now for example, if I'm adding my automation related code in main folder, in that case, my script will fail or it will not execute or it will not allow me, right? So in these options, nothing is going to happen. Okay, it will allow me if I'm writing my automation code in the main folder as well. Okay, it will allow me, it will not give any error, it will not break the script, or it will not give any structural error, right? Only it will not as per the standard they have defined, maven or maybe industry are following, right? So basically when you are having some development code that should go in your main folder, and whenever you're having some automation related code that you are going to have in test folder. Okay, now many of the cases, let's say development they are maintaining in separate repository and automation they are maintaining in separate repository. In that case, maybe you can delete this main folder because main folder is not required for you. Okay, you can go ahead and add only one test folder, right? So main folder you can delete in that particular case, because developer is having their separate code in separate repository, and automation code we are having in separate repository. In that case, no need to worry about this main folder. Okay, but few of the application you can see in future, right? What they are doing, the development and automation, they are maintaining in same repository or same project, right? So in that case, developer are going to write their code into the main repository, sorry, main folder, and QA or automation tester or automation engineer going to write their code into the test folder. Correct. So now let's focus on main folder, right? So in main folder, majorly we are having two folders available again. Okay, so first one is the Java and resources. Java and resources. Okay. Now in Java, maybe for whatever the .java file he is going to create. So for example, let's say for the development he need, I mean, different Java classes needs to be created. So he's going to create all these classes, all these Java files in this particular Java folder. Okay, and it might be possible he will be required, some resources as well. So resources could be, might be he is requiring some Excel data from the Excel sheet, might be he is requiring some images, might be he is requiring some, JSON files, right? So these kind of resources means for the helping the development, they are requiring different resources. So those kind of resources he can add it into the resources folder. Okay, so whatever the Java class he is going to create, he is going to add it into the Java folder. And what are the different resources required? Resources could be in the form of Excel sheets, resources could be in the form of JSON files, resources could be in the form of images, right? So those resources he is going to add into the resources folder, right? So now how the structure is having for your development. So similar structure, we are going to have it for your automation as well. So if I go to the inside the test folder, again in test, we are having Java and resources. Okay. So for example, for automation as well, we need to maintain the test data. For example, in my case, if I'm maintaining the test data in the form of Excel sheet, so that particular Excel sheet, I'm going to add it into the resources. Right. So for example, for the automation, I need some, let's say, object repository. And let's assume that object repository I'm maintaining in the form of, let's say, JSON file, or maybe in the form of Excel sheet or CSV file, right? So in that case as well, I'm going to add that resources in the resources folder. So what are the different resources required to help automation? So those kind of resources, I'm going to add it into the resources folder, right? Okay. And in Java, for example, let's say we have different classes that we are going to create. So if you take the example of previous project that we have created, that is this particular Selenium 71, right? So in that we have created one framework, right? So in that framework, let's say we are having the browser class, we are having, let's say, first operator, then we are having this particular classes, right? Helper, right? So these are the classes. So all these packages and classes we are going to create inside the Java. And if you see config, okay, we are having one config here, all right? So config is not my Java class, right? So what it is, config is the resources here, right? So mainly config you should add into the which folder? Resources folder, all right? So still here, anyone is having any doubt about the structure of Maven?
No, sir.
This is clear for everyone?
Yes, Ajay.
Sir,
Alisha?
Yes, Ajay.
just want one thing. In
Mhm.
resource folder, only properties, text file, Excel sheet will comes, right?
Correct.
And
So
in
see,
Java file, Java
this
class.
is the coding standard. Okay. Now in resources, if I'm adding, let's say, Java file, then it's not going to shout. It's not going to give the any error. right? But it is not as per the coding standard or
Expected.
the intention with which they have created this particular folder structure. That particular intention will not meet, right?
Yes,
Otherwise, it will not give any error.
fine, sir.
Okay. And few of the cases, you can set like, scope as well. All right. So suppose I'm saying like, scope is only test, right? So for example, I'm adding one library in my project and I'm saying like, scope of that particular library is only for the test, right? So that particular library is applicable for test folder only. So that particular part we are going to learn later. Okay. I'll tell you. Okay. So that particular concept. Okay. Now, if it is clear, then what we can do, we can go for the next thing. Okay. So now if you see the folder structure again, okay. So basically we have SRC. Okay. SRC folder is created. In SRC, there are two folder, main and test. Inside the SRC, there are two folder, main and test. Okay. So inside the main, again, there are two folder. One is the Java and second one is resources. Inside the test, there are two folder, Java and resources. So in these both the folder, there are two folders are created. So first one is Java, second one is resources. First one is the Java, second one is the resources. Right. So in main, you are going to add the development related code, and in test, you are going to add the automation related code. Right. So again, in main, there are Java and resources, and in test as well, Java and resources. Right. So whatever the Java code is required, you are going to add into the Java folder, and whatever the resources like Excel sheet, maybe property file, maybe JSON files, maybe which is not Java, but you will require somewhere in Java code, right? So these kind of resources that we are going to add it into the resources folder. Okay. Now again, if I go to the Eclipse, okay. So my folder structure in Eclipse looks like this. Okay. So it's saying like, SRC main Java, SRC main resources. Okay. So only it's showing those folders here. SRC main Java, SRC main resources, SRC test Java, SRC test resources. So it's showing, all these folders here. Okay. What are the main folders are there? So it's showing all these folders, right? So see, SRC main Java. Okay, so this is one path, SRC main Java, and then SRC main resources, SRC main resources. So here as well, it's showing like, SRC main Java and SRC main resources, right? In test as well, similar structure we are having, right? So if I go here, if you see here, okay, SRC test Java, SRC test Java, and SRC test resources, SRC test resources. So similarly, it's showing here. Right. SRC main Java, SRC main resources, sorry, SRC main Java, SRC main resources, SRC test Java, SRC test resources. Right. So till here, this is clear for everyone, right? So how the folder structure looks like in Maven and what is the purpose of having this particular structure.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I go, one level back till the SRC, till the SDFC. Okay. Now, if you see, there is one target folder is also created. Okay. So in target folder, generally, whatever the output you are going to produce, that particular output is going to add it into the target directory. Okay, so let's assume that in case of automation, I'm going to run the automation. So there might be possibility that, I'm going to generate some report, right? So now these reports where we can add it into the target directory. So let's say if I'm having some classes, that classes might be compiled and dot class file is going to create it, right? So this is my output, right? So that particular dot class file where it should store, it is going to add it into the target directory. Okay, so basically output related things we are going to maintain into the target directory. output. Okay, whatever the output of your automation or it might be your development that we are going to produce, that particular output, we are going to maintain it into the target directory. Okay, now there is one important file available here, that is the pom.xml file. Pom.xml file. Okay, in Maven project.
Ajay sir,
Yes.
both file will be created here in target folder dot class and dot bin. We
No,
compile
no,
dot
this
bin
kind of
file.
this file will not there, this kind of file. Here it will be having classes and test classes. Okay, so classes means development classes and test classes means our testing related classes.
Only class file will be there, dot class. Okay.
So for example, if they want to refer the development related classes, they will simply say the classes only. So in these classes, they are going to have, development related whatever they have generated, right? But for the testing, they have test classes.
Yes, sir. Bin file will be created some other folder file.
Bin
Will be
means
compiled that dot class file convert into bin file, na?
no,
That
dot class file they will have here. Okay, inside this particular test classes, I'll show you that. Don't worry.
okay, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
because as of now we haven't created any class, right? So that's the reason it's not compiled yet. Once it is compiled, then I will show you how it will display and how it will looks like, right?
Fine, sir.
Okay, now this particular class path and project part, you don't have to worry. Okay, just ignore it. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now next thing that we have pom.xml file, right? So this is simple XML file. XML file stand for what your extended markup language, right? I'm not sure. Extended markup language, right? So this is one, type of document. Okay, so it's following extended markup language. Okay, now if I open this particular document, so let's me use with the notepad one. Okay, so basically if you see, it's having one project tag. Okay, so basically how HTML we have in HTML, maybe we're having let's say HTML tag started and HTML tag ended, right? Body tag started and body tag ended somewhere, right? So basically this kind of hierarchy we have seen in HTML. So similarly we have XML file as well. So in XML as well, so this particular project tag started here and project is ended here. Okay, so how I got this started? Because at the starting it just opened the curly braces. They will have some tag. So in this case, project tag is there. And if you see here, slash and project means that project is ending here. Okay. Similarly, they are having module version, and module version is closing here as well. Right. So this is by default taken by the Maven. Okay. So first project and second one is the module version. You don't have to worry about the project and module version. Okay. Now third thing that we have added, group ID. So while creating the project, I have added the group ID com.tcs. So that particular group ID is added here. Okay. Now artifact ID, I have added the HDFC, and then version, I have added 0.0.1 snapshot. The name of the project is my HDFC. Okay. And description of the project, this is the HDFC bank project. Okay. So all this, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So this particular 5 tag you are seeing here, this information I have updated while creating the project, right? And same information is reflected here itself. Same information is reflected here itself, right? So first one is the group ID. So group ID means your company domain, okay, or company. You can say that in one group ID, you can have multiple project. In one group ID, you can. So let's say I'm having one group ID. Let's say com dot. Let's say TCS dot banking and finance, right? So in banking and finance, for example, in TCS, they are having 100 project, right? So all these projects are coming under the same domain. com.tcs.befs, that is the banking and finance, right? Now let's say TCS is having another department or another domain, that is, let's say com dot, let's say telecom, right? So they will say com dot TCS dot telecom. So telecom related project, let's say they are having 50 project telecom related. Okay, so all these 15 project will have same group ID, that is the com.tcs.telecom, right? So maybe, for example, they are having another domain, let's say, for example, travel domain is there, right? So they are going to say com.tcs.travel. In travel might be they are having, let's say, 10 project. So all the 10 project are coming under this group ID. So in group ID, we can have multiple project. Okay, but artifact ID is unique for this particular project. So in this particular group ID, there should be only one HDFC project. Okay. So always remember this group ID is project unique ID name or project unique name, right? So this should not be duplicate, and this is going to have for the only one project. But this particular group ID, the same group ID, I can have multiple project. What it means, this particular group, there are multiple project available. So wherever I'm going to add this group ID, so all these projects are coming under the same group, right? Then we are having artifact ID. Then we are having version. Okay, version we can give anything. While creating the project, I have given this particular version. So that's the reason it's reflected here. While creating the project, I have given the name of the project is SDFC. So that's the reason it's reflecting here. Okay, and this is the description I have added while creating the project. Okay, any doubt on this?
No, sir.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so let me go to the Eclipse. Okay, now the project we have created, but how to use this particular project? Let's say I want to use this particular project where I can write the Selenium code, right? Or maybe I want to use the this particular project to writing the one, or maybe I have created this particular project to automate the one of my application through the Selenium, right? So first thing that we need to do is add the Selenium jar, right? So now how we are adding the Selenium jar previously, how to add it? So first of all, I will download the Selenium jar, and what I will do?
It will we will add through the
Correct.
Properties and build
Correct.
path.
We'll
Build
click
path,
here, right click
configure
here,
build path,
and we'll say build path,
build path,
then
configure build path,
configure build path, and then we're going to select a library. Then we are going to
class path,
select the library, this
Class,
particular,
class path.
sorry, class
Class
path, right?
class path,
Okay,
below.
maybe, and then we'll select the external jars,
Add
and then we are going to add this particular thing, right? So this is how we are going to add these particular things in your project. Okay. Now we are using the maven. So in case of maven, we don't require to do this, right? So what we are going to do? If I want Selenium, what I'm going to do? I'm going to search for the Maven Selenium dependency. Okay. So one site will open, that is the if you see the name of this particular site, it's saying like, Maven repository. It's saying the name of this particular site is the Maven repository. So this particular site is called as the maven centralized repository. This particular site is your maven centralized repository. Okay, so this is your maven centralized repository. This particular site is your maven centralized repository. Okay, now on this particular site, whatever the different dependencies that you are going to require, all the dependencies are available on this particular site, maven centralized repository, right? So if you want test-ng, you're going to get the test-ng here. If you want Cucumber, you are going to get the Cucumber here. If you want, let's say Selenium, Selenium is available here. Suppose if you want extend report is also available on this repository. So this is the centralized repository and everything is available here. Okay. So first of all, I need a Selenium. So that's the reason I search the Selenium. Now it's saying like, which version of Selenium you want to use. Okay. If I scroll down, it's showing the version of Selenium from 2.0.0. Before that as well, they are having one version here. Okay. But actually 2x series as well, it's showing here. Right. Now, if I go up, right. So till this particular version, 4.25, it's showing till 4.25. Right, 4.25. So you can say the latest version of Selenium is 4.25. Right. So that particular version, till that particular version, we are having dependencies in Maven. Right. So let's assume that I want 4.24. Right. So I will click on 4.25 here. Right. So once I click here, 4.25, then I'm getting some code. Okay. If you see, this particular code is also talking about forget about this particular dependency, but here as well, it's saying like, group ID, artifact ID, and version. Okay. Now assume that, for example, I'm the person who working on Selenium application or Selenium development. Okay. So Selenium is also one tool, right? So it might be possible someone has developed this particular tool, right? They have written some Java code or they have written some code for to develop this particular tool, right? So while creating the Selenium project, what they did, maybe they have created one Maven project, and while writing the Maven project, what they have did, they have selected the group ID as org.seleniumhq.selenium. Okay, so seleniumhq.org. Okay. Nowadays they have made the dev. Okay, but org is also available. Okay, maybe for the Selenium HQ, they have, redirection to this particular.
The Selenium hq.selenium.org. Can we write that in that format?
Just a minute. Selenium HQ. So you, yeah, seleniumhq.org. If you see, this is the site www.seleniumhq.org is available. Right. So this is Selenium official site, seleniumhq.org. So this is the Selenium official site available. Okay, so here you will see the all the details of Selenium, right? So for example, like for example, I am the developer who is working on Selenium project. So that might be possibility while creating the Selenium. What I did, I have given the name of my group ID. I have given while creating the Maven project. I have created, I have given this particular name org.seleniumhq.selenium. Right. So this is the group ID I have given. Then let's say I want to develop this particular thing for the Java based, I have to use the Java language binding here. So maybe I have given the Selenium hyphen Java as artifact ID, and then version I have selected because initially when I was working that I have created the version 2.0.0, then I have increased till 4.2.4, right? So this is the version that I have added there. Okay, so that's the reason. And then I have published it into the centralized repository in this particular repository. So for that reason, I'm able to see this dependency. Now, Maven is saying like, if you want this particular version, you have to add this particular dependency. So from Selenium team, they have added this particular version on this particular site, that is the Maven centralized repository. If you want to download this particular jars on your machine, then you have to add this particular dependencies. While giving the dependencies, you have to take care of which group ID, which artifact ID, and which version I want. Right. So group ID, artifact ID, and version is required. Okay. Now what I will do, I'll copy this particular dependencies on my machine. So let's Control C. Okay. And I'll go to the pom.xml file. So where is my pom.xml file? So this is my pom.xml file. Okay. So inside the project, so project is ending here. So I don't have to go below the project. So inside the project itself, I have to do this everything. All right. So because of that, just after the description, I'm hitting the enter. Right. And here I have to add one tag, that is the dependencies. Dependencies. This particular tag I have to add dependencies. Okay. Because if you see this particular is saying dependency. Okay. And this dependency you can add inside the dependencies. So this particular dependencies going to have multiple dependencies going to have multiple dependency, right? So this is the first dependency because I have just started. Selenium dependency, and I'm going to add the Selenium dependency. Tomorrow might be possible I required, test engine dependencies, then I'm going to add it into the dependencies again, right? So this is the first dependency I required. So I'm just adding it into the dependencies, right? So I have just added and I just saved, right? So it's, if you see, it's saying like, building, downloading resources, right? So for this purpose, internet is required. If you don't have internet, it will not work, right? Now, if you see, previously it was saying like, downloading something, right? Building something, and that particular thing is finished. That particular thing is not there right now. That means Selenium dependencies is downloaded on your machine. You don't have to go on Selenium site and download it. Maven itself will take care. For that purpose, you just have to tell the Maven, or you just have to mention in pom.xml which group ID, which artifact ID, and which version of Selenium I want. Right. So I have mentioned everything, and now Selenium itself, Maven itself will take care of downloading it. Okay. And on my machine, the Selenium is available now, right? Now, if one can say like, I want to see where is the Selenium in your machine, right? So if I go to the Maven dependencies, if you see Selenium 4.24, Selenium to 4.24, Selenium. Okay, so Selenium 4.24, 4.24 is available on my machine, right? Now, do I need to go in right click build a path, and then configure build path, then class, and then this all these things I don't need to do now, right? So I have downloaded Selenium, I have provided a dependency of Selenium, Maven has downloaded it, and that's it. Now Selenium is available and it's ready to use on my machine. That's how easy of using Maven, right? So I have just added the dependency here, and Maven took care of, downloading the Selenium, right? Now, if I go here and in my test folder, for example, let's say I'm saying like, I'm creating one class. So let's say my class name is a test Maven dot Java. Okay, or Java as well. You don't have to specify. Right, I will select the public static void main. Okay, so one Java file is created, and now how I can check, Selenium is on my machine or not, or Selenium is available in this particular project or not. Okay, how I can check?
We can write web driver.
Correct. We can write the web driver. Now this web driver is coming. That means Selenium is available. Right. So web driver is equal to, let's say, new Chrome driver. Right. And then I will say driver dot get what? Any URL. So let's say
URL.
right? Whichever URL I want. So let's say I'm going for demo QA, right? So this particular URL I want to load. So I'll simply go here and I'll say this particular URL I want. Okay. And that's it, right? So let's check, it's working on. Now, if you see, it's just downloading, sorry, it's just, open this particular page and it's opening this particular site, right? So now if you see my Selenium is already configured in this particular project and I'm able to write the Selenium code as well. I'm able to write the Selenium code as well. So if you remember in yesterday's session, to take the screenshot, there is one. Before that, just tell me, for example, let's say previously I have created one project here. Okay. In that project, I have added the build path for the Selenium, right? Now, in same Eclipse, I have created the another project that is the SDFC project. Now for this particular project, does it require, add Selenium again or whatever I have added here that can be shared with this one?
No, it is shared with this one also.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone have different thoughts? Okay, so let's
We can
try it.
convert our Java project to Maven also.
No. My question is that I have added the Selenium. I have downloaded the Selenium for this one. Does it require to add the Selenium for this one as well? By
No,
right clicking,
no,
then build path.
no need.
Okay. Are you sure?
Yes, sir.
We
Okay,
already
so let's do one thing. Okay, so let's create one project. Which type of project we are going to? Let's create the one simple project. Okay. I'll create one simple project and I'll say name of this particular project is let's say test uh, okay, so this particular project I have created, right? So now as per what you are saying, what I'll do, I'll just create one class. Okay, and I'll say test Selenium. Right. Now here I will say web. If you see, WebDriver option is not coming here. If I'm typing the web, it's not showing the WebDriver so that I can write the WebDriver driver is equal to new Firefox or Chrome driver. Right.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Because
So every time if you create the new project, you have to add the Selenium for that particular project.
we have to add the dependency for every project.
Correct. Because see, I'm creating one plain project, I'm creating one Maven project. How this particular project will know that these are the different things that is required. If it is sharing from another project, that might be possibility in my machine. There are different projects available, and every project is sharing. Let's say I'm working for one banking project and I'm working for one travel domain project. So if it is possible that project is sharing the dependencies of another project, then it is a problem, right? Because travel domain project might be required different dependencies and banking project is required different dependencies, right? So if
Yes.
is both
Yeah,
the
Ajay.
project is started sharing the dependencies in between, then that is a problem for me, right? So ideally it should not, right? So this project is different and this project is different. So Eclipse will not, I mean, mix this thing, or any editor will not mix this thing. All right. So that particular thing you should remember. If you are creating the new project, every time you have to add the dependencies. It's not, I mean, you have to tell the your Maven that I need these things. You can just download all these things. Right. So I'll just delete it. This is clear for everyone, right?
Yes, sir. Every
Yes,
project have unique dependency.
Correct. They're different because project to project dependencies are changed. Project to project needs are changed.
Yes.
right? So this project might be required, let's say Python Selenium, or this project is maybe required, let's say Java Selenium, or another project might be required Java, let's say JavaScript Selenium, right? So project to project, they have different dependencies and we have to add it, right? Okay, so I'll just delete this particular project. I'll say delete this permanently. Okay. Now we have this particular project, and in this particular project, we just added the Selenium dependencies here. And because of that, I'm able to write the Selenium code here. Okay, so just remember, if you are not able to get this option, WebDriver, that means Selenium dependency you haven't added here. Okay, now if you know, I mean, if you remember previously in previous session, I want to take the screenshot, but there is one method that fileutil.copy method is there, right? So I'll just open the yesterday's code. Right. So here fileutil dot copy file method is there. But if you remember, for this particular method, I required to, add one dependency. Right. How I added this particular dependency? I just right click on the project. Before that, I just downloaded that particular from the Apache,
like Apache,
Apache Common IO.
Common, IO.
Right.
Yes, Java.
Apache Common IO. So I can, instead of, downloading it and adding it, what I will say, I'll say maven Apache Common IO dependency. Okay. Now if I go here, okay, there are multiple versions. It depends on me which version I want to use. Generally, I will go with the latest version. So I'll select this latest version, right? And just I have to copy this particular dependency from here. Okay. Just I have to copy this dependency. Okay. And I have to add it in my project. Okay. So for example, my project, this is the maven file, sorry, pom.xml file. In this particular form.xml file, I'm going to add this particular dependency, right? Just a minute, something. Yeah, this is the dependency closing here. Okay. The dependency started here and dependencies is ended here. So after that, I have to add it here, right? Now I have added, I just have to save it. Once I have saved, right? If you see, it started downloading, right? It will do very quickly. Okay. Now just I have to go where in maven dependency, and here I have to search common IO, Apache common IO, Apache common IO. Is there any Apache common IO?
And I think it's in the end of
Yeah, common IO
Common
is
IO.
there. Right. Now, once this is done, I don't need to do anything, right? This is ready to use me for now, right? So I'll go in this particular class again, and I'll say here file utils dot copy file and source and destination. Now, if you see, I'm getting this method means the Apache Common IO is available in my project now, right? So this is how easy it's, adding the dependencies. Right. So as I said, like, Maven will help you for the dependency management. Okay. So dependency management. So this is something called as the dependency. What is meant by dependency? To build any framework, to create any project, or to have any project, there are multiple dependencies, multiple softwares, multiple libraries are required. So those are dependencies of my project. Right. Now with the help of Maven, I can easily manage those dependencies, right? So this is the first advantage. First advantage is what? It's automatically going there and downloading it, right? Now, in traditional way, there is one more, problem is there. right? In traditional way. What was that? So for example, let's say, maybe for example, uh, let's say Rohi has joined one project. Okay, let's say for TCS. All right. So she has started, development for any framework, and what she did, uh, first, he required, test or maybe Selenium. Okay, and
लॅपटॉप
she
बंद
thought,
करायचं काय होय
okay, sorry,
लॅपटॉप
yes,
हा
Avinash.
हॅलो
Yes, are you saying something, or if you're not talking, please go on mute. Okay,
ओके ओके फाईन येस
yeah,
सॉरी सॉरी
no problem. Okay, so for example, let's say Rohi thought, like, she needs the Selenium version, let's say 4.20. Okay, so 4.20 she has downloaded, and she is using, I mean, previous traditional approach itself, right? So for that, she just downloaded this version. Okay, now she needs test ng as well. So test ng, for test ng as well, she has downloaded, let's say, I don't know version. Okay, 3 point, let's say, maybe 20, or 3 point, let's say 5.0. Okay, now there are, let's say, 10 to different tools are there. So all these tools are required for her framework. Okay, and she has downloaded it, and she started, I mean, added the path, downloaded all the project, downloaded all the libraries and added in her project, right? So tomorrow, let's say Avinash joined that particular project. Okay, and now he wants to start working on that particular project, right? So now we are having list of how many software. So let's say 10 software or 10 libraries, different libraries are there. Each library is having their own version, right? So either what, I mean, so first of all, what, Rohi will do, Rohi will share the GitHub repository, and from the GitHub, Avinash can clone that particular project, right? But whatever the dependencies Rohi has added, that is only on her machine, right? So that is not available to Avinash now. Now, Avinash, what Avinash needs to do? Avinash needs to ask Rohi, okay, what is the Selenium version that you have used? What is the TestNG version that you have used? Okay, what is the, let's say, Cucumber version you have used? What is the Common IO version you have used? Okay, so same thing he needs to download from internet, and he has to add in his project. Okay, so by mistake, let's say Avinash, instead of using this particular version, what Avinash did, Avinash downloaded it. Instead of 4.2, he has downloaded the 2.4 version. Okay, so in this case, there might be chances in 4.2 version, that means advanced version Rohi has using, right? But Avinash just downgraded that version, so that might be possible. The Avinash will get, I mean, many errors because of that, because he is not using the proper version, right? So now assume that there is only 2% in project. So now let's say tomorrow, let's say 5% join in project. So tomorrow, let's say 10 projects, 10% join the project, right? And each and every one is, adding something in their project, and they are, um, doing different, adding different dependencies and communicating over the chat. So it will become a tedious to manage this particular dependencies by adding downloading it manually. Okay, so this is the first scenario. Second scenario, let's assume that your automation framework is running on, let's say, on remote server. Okay, no one is managing that particular server. It will just automatically clone that particular project on the remote machine, and their execution will start it, right? So on that machine, on that project, who is going to download all these project for this to run that particular server? to run this particular automation on that particular server? Who is responsible, right? Because someone has to, go there on that particular server. He has to log in on that particular server. He has to, download all these particular software. He has to add the dependencies or in their project by right clicking there, saying like, build path, then configure build path, and has to add this all this software, right? So this is this is very difficult to manage. Okay, so for this solution is your maven. Now in maven, I'm just going to add all the dependencies in my pom.xml, right? So for example, I have started this particular project, and let's say tomorrow, let's say Avinash join the project, right? So what I'll do, I'll say share the Avinash, my project with the Avinash. Avinash will add this particular project as a maven project, and as soon as he said like update as a maven project, so it will automatically start the downloading the dependency. No need, I don't have to tell Avinash, let's say Selenium version you have to use this, because anyways this particular pom.xml file Avinash also get. Okay, so Avinash don't have to mention here which version shall I use, which version you have used, right? So he will not ask me, right? So he will just download this particular project or clone this particular project, and automatically it will start downloading all the dependencies by default. Okay, doesn't matter, I have used 10 different library or 5 different library, or let's say 100 different library. So it will automatically take care of everything, and it will work on my machine itself as well, right? So this is how easy managing dependencies with the help of your uh, maven. Okay, so I think that's it. In tomorrow's session we are going to learn other things as well. Okay, but I think now it's 11:30, around 11:20. All right, so maybe we'll stop here, and maybe in tomorrow's session we'll learn more about the maven. Okay, but till here, if you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we can close and we'll meet tomorrow.
Hello, Ajay.
Yes, Sainash.
Actually, means that in the evening, where I'm trying with my one project for the configure property script. So when I'm using with helper class for that particular Maven project, so is there any is there other facility or other dependencies we have to add for helper class, or because when I'm importing that one, so it is not importing whenever I'm importing into the particular script by using my one project.
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Please, can I share my screen?
Can you show it on your screen?
Can I share my screen?
Yeah.
Yes. Able to see my screen? Hello. Hello, Jay. Able to see my screen?
Yes, Avinash, I can see your screen. Okay, maybe I will stop the recording. Okay.
Okay.